Hello everyone. Today we will discuss the first chapter, typical configuration of computer system. As per the syllabus, this chapter carries 4 marks, 1 mark 1 question and 3 marks 1 question. In this chapter we will discuss the following topics one by one. The first topic is Introduction to Computer System, which deals with what is a computer, how it works and what are the requirements to perform different operations. Second topic is review of block diagram of CPU. It defines the four main components of computer system and it also shows the data flow and control flow between different units or blocks of a computer. Third topic is motherboard. This topic deals with what is motherboard, what are the types of motherboard and what are different components of motherboard. Fourth topic is power supply and UPS. There are two types of power supply required for the computer to prevent from system shutdown. They are SMPS and UPS. SMPS stands for switch mode power supply and UPS stands for uninterruptible power supply. In simple words, we can say UPS is nothing but an inverter battery which gives us power backup to the computer. Okay, now let us move to the first topic, that is introduction. In introduction, we know that the basic definition of computer. The computer is an electronic machine that can store, recall and process data. So this is the basic definition that you have studied last year. Okay, now let us study a bit more about computers. The computer basically includes series of electrical and electronic circuits together to form a single unit. That means in computer we have both electrical and electronic circuit which makes a single unit. The next point is most of the people think that computer does all the work by itself. Most of the people think so, but it is not true. Computer does not do any work by its own because it doesn't have any intelligence of its own, so it cannot perform any task by its own. Okay, so the obvious question arises is, so what does computer require to perform different operations? The computer requires hardware, software, data and users. So these are the requirements for the computer to perform any operations. Now let us see their definitions. What is hardware? Hardware is a physical component of any computer such as keyboard, monitor, printer, motherboard, processor and many other. Next one is software. Software is nothing but it's a set of instruction called programs that instructs or tells the computer what to do or how to do a particular job. Next one is data. Data are the values or raw facts which are provided as input to the computer. Then the computer processes that input data and generates some meaningful information. So the raw data is converted to some meaningful information. The next one is users. Users are nothing but the people who write the computer programs or who uses the computer to do their business and many more applications. Okay, so next move to the block diagram of computer system. The computer system consists of four main units. They are input unit, CPU, central processing unit, storage unit and output unit. The central processing unit in turn consists of control unit, arithmetic logic unit and registers. Now let us see how computer works. In the block diagram you can see two types of lines are there. One is solid line which denotes data flow and another line is dotted line which denotes control flow. First the user input the data to the CPU through the input unit, That means the user gives the data through input unit to the computer, but a copy of that data is stored in storage unit. You can notice that the control flow is going from input unit to central processing unit, but the data flow is going from input unit to storage unit, then to central processing unit. Once the data is processed in CPU, the processed data, now the processed data is nothing but information. The information is sent back to the storage unit. Now, based on the user's requirement, whether the user want to store the data temporarily or permanently, based on his requirement, the processed data is stored on primary memory for temporary uses or permanently on the secondary storage. Then the processed data is sent to the output unit. The output unit may be a printer, a monitor, or the projector. Based on the output unit, the processor sends the processed data, that is nothing but information, to the output unit. This was how a computer works. Now let us see these 4 units in detail. The first one is input unit. The input unit interacts with the computer via input unit. The input unit accepts data from the users and converts it into a form that is understood by the computer. The computer doesn't understand English, Kannada, Marathi, any other language. It can only understand only one language, that is binary language. So the input unit has to convert any input given by the user to the binary language, nothing but ones and zeros. So some user can give input in the form of English, some user can give input in any different languages, like it can be English, it can be Hindi, Marathi, Kannada. Okay, so but the computer doesn't understand these original language. It can only understand binary language. So the keyboard has to convert that language to binary language, which is understood by the computer. Next, the input data can be word, text, sound, image, or document. That means the input can be in the form of text data, audio data, image data, document data, video data. The input can be in different forms. Again, as I told you that either it is a text data, audio data, video data, or any kind of data. The input unit first convert that type to the binary data. In later chapters, we'll understand or we'll see how the input unit converts input to computer understandable language. As of now, it is enough. Next one is input is provided to the computer using input devices like keyboard, mouse, joystick, trackball, microphone, scanner, etc. So these are the different types of input devices used to give input to the computer. Okay. Next one is central processing unit. CPU controls and coordinates, supervises the operations on the computer. It is also responsible for the processing of input data. That means the CPU controls, coordinates and supervises. That means it is like a leader in the class. It takes care of each and every operation going on in the computer. CPU consists of ALU unit and control unit. That means in CPU there are 2 more units are there. One is arithmetic logic unit and control unit. Along with these 2 units, CPU also has a set of registers for temporary storage of data, instruction address and intermediate result. That means these registers are the very small amount of very fast memory that are there in the CPU, that is used by the CPU, nothing but processor. Let's see what is ALU. ALU stands for arithmetic logic unit. This performs all arithmetic and logical operations on the input data, like arithmetic operation like add, subtract, 2's complement, increment, decrement. Logical operations like AND operation, OR operation, XOR operation, ones complement. Here ones complement is nothing but not operation. Next one is CU. CU means control unit. Control units controls all our operations performed in the computer. That is, it checks the sequence of execution of instruction, controls and coordinates overall functioning of the computer. That means the CPU, in the CPU, the CU unit, nothing but control unit, will check the sequence of execution of instruction. That means at a time computer will be doing lots of operation. That means in the background for the operating system consists of lots of threads, nothing but programs going on. So CU has to manage these programs one by one. That means you should not either block the computer so that it stop working, or it should not give more preference to either to the user nor more to the operating system. So it will manage between user as well as the operating system. That is the job of control unit. Next one is registers. Registers are high-speed storage unit within the CPU but have least storage capacity. Registers are not referenced by their address but are directly accessed and manipulated by the CPU during instruction execution. So these register doesn't require any addresses. They are directly accessed by the processor for storage of intermediate result or next result. Okay, we have different types of registers in the CPU. That is AC, nothing but accumulator. PC means program counter. IR means index register. DR means data register. MBR means memory buffer register. MDR means memory data register, etc. There are still many registers are there in CPU. Next, storage units. Storage unit. There are two types of storage units associated with the storage. They are, one is primary and one is secondary storage. The primary memory, also called as main memory of the computer, consists of RAM and ROM memory. RAM is nothing but random access memory and ROM is read-only memory. The main memory stores the data, instruction, intermediate results and output temporarily during the process of the data. That means in this storage, primary storage is nothing but it is a volatile memory. That means once the computer is shut down, all the data that is stored in RAM memory will be vanished. It will no longer store the data once the computer is shut down. So that is the primary memory. So these memory will store instructions and intermediate results for temporarily duration. Okay. Here you can see two types of memory. One is read-only memory in the upper row, and in the lower row you can see a RAM memory. Read-only memory will store data once the manufacturing was doing. That means the data is written before it is used. That means we cannot change the data in the read-only memory. That means the name itself says it can read only. We cannot change it. Okay, there are different types of ROM memories are there. In further classes we'll see the different types of ROM memories and how we can store the data in the ROM memory and how we can erase the data and rewrite the data in the ROM memories. In the later classes we will study that. In the lower row you can see that there are PCBs, nothing but printed circuit board, on which some chips are there. Semiconductor memory, we call them as semiconductor memory. Okay. The second one is secondary memory. The secondary memory is also called as external memory of the computer, which stores data permanently. Okay, so there are different types of secondary storage are there. One is magnetic disk, magnetic tape, optical disk, flash drives are the some of the example for secondary memory. Here you can see that magnetic disk, nothing but the hard disk, we call it as hard disk. Okay, so in hard disk we have the magnetic disk. Magnetic tape are the old type of storage devices where the plastic, that means a layer of magnetism is on the plastic. That means there is a process of dipping that plastic in a magnetized liquid, and that media we can use for storage of data. Okay, so that is nothing but VCR and audio cassette are two examples for magnetic tape. Next one is optical disc. Optical discs are nothing but CD, DVD and Blu-ray. The only difference between CD, DVD and Blu-ray is their storage capacity. Here you can see optical disc, printed circuit board, flash drive. Okay, so these are the example for secondary storage. Now the output unit. The output unit provides the process data, that is the result generated after processing. Once the data is given to input unit, the input unit send the data to processing. After processing, the data is stored in the storage unit. After storage, the data is given to the either monitor or printer or projector based on the output devices available. So the output unit will display the data or generate the data after processing. The output may be in the form of text, sound or image or document. So the output devices are, it can be a printer, it can be a speaker, or it can be a monitor, or it can be a projector to display the output or result. Next is motherboard. So what is motherboard? Motherboard is the main circuit board of the computer, which contains CPU, memory, expansion slot, bus, video controller and other electronic component. The motherboard is the most important part of any computer. That means without motherboard, a computer is of no use, because the motherboard will contain almost all the components of the computer. So it is a large printed circuit board having many chips, ports, controllers and other electronic components mounted on it. That means these are all fixed on the plastic board, nothing but printed circuit board. That is it is made up of plastic on which the circuits are designed on. After designing the circuit, whatever the required component, electronic components which are mounted onto this. Now types of the motherboard. There are various types of motherboards available depending upon the processor. We have four types of motherboards. One is XT motherboard, AT motherboard, AB80 motherboard and ATX motherboard. Let's see what is XT motherboard. XT stands for extended technology motherboard. So these are the one of the old model motherboards. In these motherboards we find LIF sockets, that is low insertion force sockets. So these are the sockets used for fixing the processor. Next, RAM slot. So here we can see DIMM type RAM slot. DIMM means dual inline memory module. So these are the type of the socket for the RAM. Next one is ISA, industry standard architecture slot. So these are the slots we can use in the XT motherboard. And the next one is 12-pin power connector. 12-pin power connector is nothing but this is a type of connector, pin connector, through which the power is supplied to the motherboard. So example for the XT motherboard are Pentium 1, Pentium MMX, Pentium 2, Pentium Pro. Remember, we say Pentium processors are first generation and second generation Pentium processor belongs to XT motherboard. Here you can see this is LIF socket. So in the last image you can see that Intel i386, this is the processor and left to that is the socket. So this is the kind of socket on which the processors used to fix. Next one is DIMM sockets or nothing but DIMM slot. DIMM is nothing but dual inline memory module. So these are the type of the memory modules or nothing but RAM memory which are used in the XT motherboard. Next one is 12 pin power connector. So these are the type of 12 pin connector, nothing but there are 12 pins are there. So these are the power connectors. That means these, with the help of this, the power is given to the motherboard. Now today we have ATX motherboards where we use 20 pin or 24 pin power connector. So in the olden days these were there, that is 12 pin connector. Next one is ISA, nothing but industry standard architecture. These are nothing but these are similar to the PCI ports that we are using today. So in the older days they uses ISA ports, slots. Okay, next is AT motherboard. AT stand for advanced technology. In these motherboards we can see PGA socket, nothing but pin grid array socket, as compared to the previous motherboard LIF socket. Okay, so PGA is the advancement to the LIF socket. So again these socket also used to hold the processor. Next one is SDRAM, synchronous dynamic random access memory. In the previous we have seen DIMM slots, here there is SDRAM slots. Next is 20 pin power connector. So in AT motherboard we are using 20 pin power connector, but in the previous motherboard we use 12 pin power connector. Next one is PCI and ISA slot. So PCI stand for peripheral component interconnect. So along with the ISA slot in this motherboard, PCI slots are also used. Okay, so example for AT motherboard are Pentium 3 processor. That means the Pentium 3rd generation processors are the example for AT motherboard. Okay, so the next motherboard is okay. So these are the different images where we can see SDRAM, PGA, socket. So here you can see pins. Okay, so pin grid array. So these pins are arranged in the form of array. So that's why it is called as pin grid array. So here you can see PCI slot. These slots are nothing but peripheral component interconnect. Okay, so finally here you can see 20 pin power connector. So these are the pins that is used to supply the power supply to the motherboard. Okay, so the next motherboard is Baby AT motherboard. The Baby AT motherboard have the combination of XT and AT motherboard, nothing but the Baby AT motherboard is a combination of both AT as well as XT motherboard. So most of the Baby AT motherboards have some of the features from AT and some of the features from XT motherboard. Let's see what they have common. A slot type processor socket and PGA processor socket. As we have seen that AT motherboard use PGA socket. So here in Baby AT motherboard we are using PGA socket, and SDRAM slot and DRR RAM. So in AT motherboard we have seen SDRAM, along with that we are having DDR RAM. So what is DDR RAM? So DDR RAM stands for double data rate random access memory. Okay. So again it's using PCI slot as well as ISA slot. These two slots have been used in XT as well as AT slot. The same slot has been used here in this Baby AT motherboard. Next, it is using 12 pin as well as 20 pin power connector. So XT uses 12 pin power connector and AT used 12 pin power connector, but this Baby AT motherboard is using both 12 as well as 20 pin power connector. So example for Baby AT motherboard is Pentium 3 as well as Pentium 4 processor. That means some of the Pentium 3rd generation processor are also using Baby AT motherboard. Nothing but there is a advancement in Pentium 3rd generation processor. Okay, so here this is the DDR RAM. These are the different, that is DDR is nothing but DDR1, DDR2, DDR3, nothing but it is double data rate random access memory. That means compared to DDR2, DDR3 is faster. That means if DDR is having data rate, the DDR2 will have the twice the data rate of DDR1. The DDR3 will have the twice the data twice the transfer rate of DDR2. Okay, so here you can see different types of RAMs, different number of pins and spacing between them. Okay, next one is ATX motherboard. ATX stands for Advanced Technology Extended. So the motherboards that we are using today are ATX motherboard. Okay, so these are the advanced motherboard that we are using today. In these motherboards we can find MPGA processor socket. Okay, so this seems to be a new word, but no, it's not a new word. MPGA is nothing but it's a micro pin grid array processor socket. Nothing but in the previous motherboards we have seen pin grid array. Okay, but here we are using MPGA power socket, nothing but micro pin grid array socket. That means number of pins are more in number. Okay, so that increases the processor power. The transfer rate from the processor to memory and memory to the processor is more. DDR RAM slot. Again, that we have used in the previous motherboard. Again we are using PCI slot. Along with PCI, here we are using AGP slot. Okay, in the later slides we'll see how AGP slots look like. Along with that, here they are using IDEs, nothing but interfaces for primary and secondary storage. What is IDE? IDE is nothing but it is the interface between the memory, that means hard disk, to the motherboard, and okay, from CD or DVD writer or reader to the motherboard. So these are the interfaces, nothing but it is a series of cables connected, that is called IDE interface. Along with IDE interface, SATA connectors are also used. Okay, so along then here in ATX motherboard 20 pin and 24 pin ATX power connectors are used. So these ATX motherboards are using 20 pin and 24 pin power connectors. So example for these motherboards are P4, nothing but Pentium 4, dual core, Core 2 Duo, quad core, i3, i5 and i7 processor. Here you can see MPGA, nothing but micro pin grid array slots. So here you can see the this is the slot that is used to fix the processor, nothing but we can keep the processor on this slot. So this slot will hold the processor. So you can see very micro pins are there, so that's why the name micro pin grid array. Okay, so this is one of the image of a motherboard. Here you can see AGP and PCI slot. AGP is nothing but accelerated graphic port. Okay, so this port, AGP port, is used for graphic purpose. If you are using computer for some graphic, nothing but video editing or gaming purpose, you can use this AGP port to insert a graphic card. Okay, so peripheral component interconnect, as we have seen before. Okay, next IDE. So as I told you that IDE is nothing but it is an interface. Okay, so this interface is nothing but a series of small micro wires, okay, combined together to form a single bus. Okay, so you can see that this IDE is connected to motherboard, here primary device, secondary device. Okay, so in secondary device also consist of hard disk or CD-ROM, DVD-ROM. Okay, see, so here you can see how it is connected to the hard disk. Next one is SATA. So this is serial advanced technology attachment. So the advancement to the IDE is SATA. Okay, so serial advanced technology attachment.